Okay, well, we are nearing the end of summer, and that kind of makes me sad, but I'm also really looking forward to the cooler fall weather. So I planted a garden, and I only planted 3 zucchini plants because last year it was just insane how many zucchinis I had well into like October, but I still can't keep up with it. I am out there almost every day with my bowl piling on the zucchini. I've shared it with friends and family, but today I'm going to be sharing 4 recipes so that we can use up some of the zucchini. Some of these recipes might be new to you. They're definitely unique. They're so delicious, and it's just going to be a fun video sharing these zucchini recipes. And if we haven't met before, my name is Ange. Welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. Okay, so this first recipe I'm going to be sharing with you is a zucchini cheddar cornbread. I love cornbread, but adding cheddar and zucchini to it makes it so delicious and moist, and it just has awesome texture. This is a fantastic way to use up zucchini. I think you're really going to like this recipe. So for our zucchini cheddar cornbread, we got to start by adding all of our dry ingredients to a large bowl here. So I have 1 cup of yellow cornmeal, and then next we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And then we have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I have a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. And that is it for the dry ingredients. I'm going to whisk this just a little bit here. And then let me get my bowl for our wet ingredients. So we have a 15-ounce can of creamy style corn. We're going to add in 1 large egg. That did not crack very good. Normally I crack this into a separate dish, but I didn't want to have to dirty a dish. And I'm going to sweeten this up just a little bit. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of honey. Now, a lot of like cornbread recipes will call for like a 1/2 cup of sugar, but I just want a touch of sweetness. Plus, we usually always add a little bit of honey to our cornbread afterwards anyway. And with the cheddar cheese, we're kind of going for that sweet, salty, savory type of experience here. And I also have a 1/4 cup of melted butter. We got to add in a little bit of milk. I have a 1/4 cup of milk here. You can use any kind. I'm going to mix all of this together before we add in our zucchini, just to make sure that we can mix up the egg really good. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, and next we're going to add in 1.5 cups of shredded zucchini. So I just used one of my larger zucchinis for this. I feel like the larger zucchinis are perfect for baking breads or like even putting it in this cornbread. And then I did not wring out any of the extra moisture. We're going to leave it all in there so that our cornbread is nice and moist and delicious. And then I'm also going to add in about 3/4 cup of sharp cheddar cheese. I feel like the sharp cheddar cheese is where it's at. Like, it just makes it so delicious. Gives it a nice like cheesy bite. And I've got a large spoon here, and we'll mix all of the cheese and the zucchini in with these and with the wet ingredients. All right, let's pull all of this together. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add all of the wet ingredients in with the dry ingredients. And then I'm going to gently mix everything together. You don't want to overmix the cornbread, otherwise it's going to be tough. So really just when it's moistened and you don't see any more of the little raw bits of cornmeal and flour, it's good to go. So just kind of fold it in. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and I have my 8-inch baking pan. I've sprayed it generously with nonstick cooking spray. Smooth out the top just to make sure it's nice and even. I usually give my pan a little shaky shake to make sure it's nice and even on all the corners. And that is it. So I have my oven set at 400 degrees. I'm going to pop this in, and we're going to bake it about 30 to 35 minutes, really until we insert a toothpick into the center and it comes out clean and the edges are kind of golden. It'll be perfect. Okay, we are ready to taste this. So I like to add a little bit of butter to mine, some honey. I am definitely like the sweet savory combo. It is so moist and still has that like fluffy cornbread texture. Okay, let's give it a try. It melts in your mouth like the most delicious cornbread cake. That's what we'll call it. It has the perfect like sweetness to it. I can definitely taste that little bit of sharp cheddar cheese. Another great recipe to use up zucchini. You can't taste it, but it definitely offers that moistness, and then it gives you, a little bit of edge in your buttery cornbread. So there you have it. So good. You definitely have to try this one. All right, so for our Fiesta chicken with zucchini street corn, we got to start by getting our chicken prepared. So what I did with the chicken is I had 2 large chicken breasts. I cut them in half and then I sliced them in like strips. And you'll want them to be like maybe 1/4 inch strips. You don't want them super thin, but we don't want them real thick either. I'm gonna add in just a little splash of olive oil. This will just make it a little bit easier to mix in with the taco seasoning. All right, so I have some taco seasoning here. This is 30% less sodium. Obviously use whatever you have on hand. And we're gonna do a good like 2 tablespoons. You want this to be really well seasoned. This recipe comes together so fast, but it's super flavorful and it's a great way to use up fresh garden vegetables like zucchini. And of course, corn is still in season right now, so this is going to be a perfect recipe. So fresh, easy. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So you can see here it is well seasoned. You want every piece of chicken coated really well with the taco seasoning. I'm going to use my cast iron skillet for this recipe. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to add in all of our seasoned chicken. So because this recipe comes together really quickly, I like to make sure to have all of my ingredients prepped. And so I got my corn off the cob, I sliced up my zucchini and got my jalapeno peppers diced up and my garlic minced, because this just cooks so quickly and you want to make sure you've got everything ready to go in the pan when it's time to go in the pan. This is only going to take about 5 minutes because we sliced it. And then we will move on to the next step. All right, so to our pan here, and you can see all those little bits. I mean, that is where a lot of the flavor's at too. So this is just we're just gonna keep layering with the flavors. So I've got a teaspoon of minced garlic. Toast that for just a second. Oh my gosh, you know what I forgot to add? Okay. We need a little bit more olive oil. I'm going to do about a 1/2 tablespoon. And then I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of butter. Just a little slow to the game here. Now that's what it's supposed to look like. Sizzling and smelling amazing. And next we're going to add in, I've got 2 small jalapenos diced up. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of corn. This is corn off the cob. So it's nice and fresh. If you don't have fresh corn in your area, just de-thaw some frozen corn. And then we're going to do 2 cups of our small diced zucchini. And I'm going to season this with just a little bit of salt and pepper. We can always add more, maybe like less than a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then a little pinch of pepper. Okay, so this is actually going to cook really quickly too. I don't want the zucchini to turn into mush, and I want the corn to kind of maintain that crispy, fresh texture, so it's still nice and juicy. So just a quick sear here. And then we're going to be adding some other flavors to kind of turn this into like a street corn vibe kind of situation. All right, I'll let that hang out for just a second. All right, this looks perfect. I gave it a little taste and it's perfectly seasoned, I feel like. Definitely has a little kick to it. Those jalapenos are a little bit spicier than what I would like. So I'm actually going to transfer this mixture to the other half of my pie dish. And I'm doing this because I want to toast my corn tortillas, and I don't want to dirty another pan. So I'm going to do it right here in the cast iron skillet and keep it really simple. You guys probably noticed like my smoking hot pan there. I had turned the heat up and forgot to turn it down, so I just took a little bit of water and added it to my pan and then scraped up the little bits there because otherwise it was just going to keep getting hotter and hotter. So now my pan is like on low, but it's still very warm. So I'm going to add my corn tortillas to the dry skillet. I really just want to get a little bit of char mark on them, soften them a little bit. And we're not going to be making tacos. All I'm going to do is I want to serve the corn tortillas on the side with the chicken and the corn and zucchini as kind of like the bread. So, I mean, people can certainly make tacos with it, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun little thing to have on the side. let me show you how I'm gonna pull this together. So we're gonna add our chicken and our veggies back to the pan. So I've actually turned off the heat completely. And as you can tell, this pan is still very hot. That's okay, because it'll keep everything nice and warm. So I like to place the chicken on one side, and then I'm gonna add my zucchini and corn over on another side. Doesn't that look so pretty? Okay, so I'm gonna add some fresh lime juice over the top of our corn and zucchini. Do a little on the chicken too. I'm gonna do some fresh cilantro. And then we're gonna add on our queso fresco. I've already kind of crumbled this. You can put on as little or as much as you like. Okay, I'm gonna get my corn tortillas in here and then we are gonna serve this up. Does that not look so beautiful and fresh? Okay, so I did add a little bit of sour cream over the top just to cool it off a little bit because I feel like the jalapeno I used, this has a little kick to it, but I don't think it's gonna send me through the roof. So what I like to do, I gotta get the perfect bite, some of that zucchini street corn, a little bit of chicken. This has awesome flavor. It's really smoky from cooking in that hot skillet. And the zucchini and corn, because I didn't overcook it, it still has a little bit of crispness to it. And what a great way to use up your zucchini harvest, or really any other veggies you have in your garden. You could even throw those in there. Some peppers would be really good in here. This is delicious. I hope you guys give this a try because it was so fast and easy, but also just a great meal that I think the whole family would love. So for our lemon zucchini muffins, we're gonna start with our dry ingredients first. We're gonna add 2 cups of flour to a large bowl. I'm gonna add in a 1/3 cup of sugar. And then we're gonna add in 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And that is it for the dry ingredients. We'll whisk this together. Okay, so let's pull together our wet ingredients. So I have a little smaller bowl here. I'm gonna add in 2 eggs. We're gonna do 1/2 cup of avocado oil. You can do vegetable oil. You can even do melted butter if you prefer that. I'm gonna zest in this entire lemon, and then I'm gonna squeeze about a tablespoon of lemon juice from this lemon. Hopefully we'll have a little bit left over because we're gonna be using some lemon juice in our glaze after the muffins are baked. I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate. This is a pretty juicy lemon. We're also gonna add in 1/3 cup of honey. Now, if you don't have honey, just add in another 1/3 cup of sugar in with the dry ingredients. But I thought the honey would be a nice addition with the lemon. Kind of gives it a little bit of a florally flavor. And then we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, and before we add in our zucchini, I'm gonna whisk these ingredients together. And next we're gonna add in 1½ cups of grated zucchini. And I just grated it on the regular size of my box grater. We're not gonna remove any of the moisture from the zucchini. You actually want all of that in there so that the muffins come out nice and moist. And I'm gonna move to a larger spoon here because we're gonna need it once we combine this with the dry ingredients. So just a light mix. All right, and you know what happens next. We're gonna add in all of the wet ingredients. So it's really important at this stage not to overmix this batter. So I'm gonna gently fold everything together really until I don't see any more loose bits of flour. And it comes together pretty quickly. All right, that looks good. That's kind of exactly what you want. You want it to just be kind of moistened like that. We've got our muffin pan. I'm hoping to get about 12 out of these. I always feel like it kind of varies between 10 and 12. But I did put some muffin liners in it just so I don't have to worry about cleaning the pan. And then I've got my trusty ice cream scoop. I've actually sprayed this with nonstick cooking spray because the batter's a little bit thicker. It's just easier. So we'll just take kind of one good scoop and plop it right down in our little muffin paper cups. So I'm gonna get these filled and then we'll talk about baking and the glaze. Okay, we got 11 of them in there. I have my oven set at 400 degrees. We're gonna bake these between like 15 and 20 minutes. I'm gonna check them at the 15 mark, and if they're set and golden on top, they are ready. I'm gonna make a really simple glaze of powdered sugar, lemon juice, and vanilla extract, and we'll drizzle that over the top once these come out of the oven. I put my muffins on a cooling rack and they've been cooling, and these went about 18 minutes. Got nice and golden brown, and they're perfectly cooked on the inside. So you saw me mix up my glaze. This was a half a cup of powdered sugar, about a tablespoon and a half of lemon juice, and a little splash of vanilla extract. So I'm just gonna take a little spoon here and just drizzle a little bit of glaze over the top. I don't want a lot. I don't want this to be like frosting, but just that little touch of sweetness I think will be really delicious. Okay, it is time to taste these. Check this out. Definitely is a zucchini muffin. And then that lemon glaze on top just drives home that lemony flavor. And let me see if I can split this in half with you. Ooh. So moist and definitely fluffy on the inside. We're gonna give it a try without butter, but I usually add a little bit of butter to my muffin. This is just as good, if not better, than any bakery muffin that I've ever bought. Definitely a good way to use some zucchini. And this is a great recipe too if you have frozen zucchini later on in the winter time when you want to make something like this and you've got frozen zucchini to thaw it. You will want to remove the moisture from that just because it accumulates extra moisture in the freezer, but these are delicious. I know you're gonna love these. Definitely a keeper. Okay, so for our zucchini Parmesan bites, this recipe is great because you can make it as an appetizer, a side dish, or even just a snack to use up leftover zucchini. And so what I did with my zucchini, I have 1 cup here, and I just grated this over a clean towel, and then I wrapped up the towel nice and tightly, and I wrung out all the excess, as much excess liquid as possible. You want to make sure that the zucchini is as dry as you can before you add it to the mixture. So we've got 1 cup here. And then next I'm gonna take my garlic clove and I'm gonna grate it into this mixture. If you wanna mince it, you can do that too, but that way you just have the essence of the garlic flavor and you don't have any chunks in there. Get my spoon so I can get it off the grater. And then next we're gonna add in 1/3 cup of panko breadcrumbs. I also have another 1/3 cup that we're gonna use a little bit later to add just a little bit of extra crispiness over the top of the zucchini balls. And then we have a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. We're gonna throw in 1 egg. All right, and then for our seasonings, I've got 2 tablespoons each of chives and parsley, and I have 1 teaspoon of basil, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. So this is gonna be really flavorful with the fresh herbs. Okay, that is it for all of the ingredients. Super simple. So we'll mix everything together. You want to make sure it's really well combined. Okay, we are ready to form these into our little Parmesan bites. I've got my assembly line going here. I have my sheet pan with parchment paper and I sprayed it really well with nonstick cooking spray. So I've got a little small cookie scoop. I'm just gonna scoop up, just kind of a level scoop. Put it out on my hand and just kind of gently roll it into a ball. But what I like to do is I like to roll the balls just in a little bit of extra panko because I like the top to be nice and crispy. Not a super thick layer, but just a teensy bit. Just like that. And we'll put it on our sheet pan. I'm gonna get the rest of these Parmesan bites rolled up and we're gonna get these into the oven. The oven set at 425. We're going to bake these about 15 to 20 minutes. We want to make sure they're nice and golden on the outside so they're super crispy. And then we're going to serve these with a little bit of marinara and then we get to taste them. These are hot out of the oven. Look how crispy they are. I apologize for that fan noise. My oven is, anyway, the fan is going. Okay, I'm gonna get some marinara so I could dip this in. Yum. Okay, I gotta do it with my right hand. I don't know why. I can't take a bite with my left hand, apparently. These would be really good, I think, dipped in ranch, too. I haven't tried that, but okay, here we go. Okay, I love zucchini fries, but this is such a fun way to enjoy like crispy coated vegetables. Such a great recipe. You'll love these. Grab some zucchini, make these Parmesan bites. So good. Well, there are so many ways to use zucchini. I feel like the recipes are endless. Some of the ways that I like to use it is I will scramble it with my eggs in the morning. This offers me a little boost of veggie, but I really like the texture of the cooked zucchini in with my eggs and then maybe a little bit of cheese. And then I also like to pickle them. If you love pickled vegetables, you will love the texture of pickled zucchini. I'll make sure to link in the descriptions the recipe that I like to use, but these are fantastic and they can be eaten in less than like a day. And then I like to add raw zucchini in with my salad, especially if you pick the zucchini when it's a little on the younger side. It's so tender and it just offers a really nice crunch in salads. And then finally, one of my favorite ways to use zucchini is I will roast them with potatoes. This recipe has actually been on my website, I think, since the very beginning, and it still is one of the most popular recipes. It's so easy, but the texture of the zucchini and potato together is so delicious. Well, I hope this video gave you some inspiration to use up your zucchini harvest, but even if you don't have a garden, get to the grocery store, get some zucchini, because these recipes will not disappoint you. And don't forget, all the recipe links can be found in the descriptions, and if you're new here, I'd love for you to be part of my YouTube family, so make sure to subscribe. I hope you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.